Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
We're up very early. It is 20 past 5.
So maybe not that early, but
No.
we're here to see the beautiful sunrise
At Angkor Wat.
Yeah. Let's see what we can see. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this.
Let's go. Angkor Wat is an amazing, massive religious complex. It is spread over a number of different sites that were temples and cities. It includes a mixture of Buddhist and Hindu art and shrines. Some information says not to take your own moped, but we'd really recommend doing so. We found it really easy to get around and definitely the best way to see everything. And of course, get there for sunrise.
We've just been up to the main tower called Bakan, and it's beautiful up there, especially now the sun's starting to rise. It's really interesting. The central tower was originally open, and there was probably a statue of Vishnu in there, but at the moment it's blocked off, and there's a Buddha statue for each direction of the compass. So this amazing mural here shows the myth of the churning of the Sea of Milk, or the churning of the Milk Sea, and it's when Devas and the Asuras were fighting, and they were looking for the elixir of life, which I think was called Amrita. And so oddly, what they did, they teamed up and they used a massive naga called Vasuki, and they used a big famous mythical mountain called Mount Mandara, as like a lever. So they used the mountain to churn up the Milk Sea. And then in the middle there's Vishnu with one of his reincarnations, which is a turtle called Khmer, or they're generally called Khmers, the turtles, to hold up the mount and help them do it. But in the end, the gods won, and they took the elixir of life and protected it from the demons.
So we've just finished a little tour around Angkor Wat, actual Angkor Wat, and it's amazing. I've been here before, but it was still just as mesmerising and incredible as before. And all the carvings around each side of the wall were good, weren't they? Very good. And also I think it's really good that we went to the museum yesterday.
So we're just popping into the Angkor National Museum, which I'm very excited about. Perry loves himself a museum, and we're not sure we can take photos and videos inside, so I'll just tell you everything afterwards. That'll be fun, won't it?
A few moments later.
Well, there was a lot of information in that museum there, and I'm going to relay it to all you now. No, only joking. We were in there for about 2-3 hours. There's a lot of stuff going on. It is really cool and really interesting, particularly the first bit, it's the Hall of 1,000 Buddhas. That's really interesting. And then it gives you the history of religion and culture in the Khmer kingdom, as well as a little information about Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom as well. So check it out, take in the information bit by bit and see how it is. It was $12 each to get in, but I think that was worth it. A bit pricey, but it was okay. And you couldn't do any filming. I think we've got some photos, but well worth it. Perry gives it 2 thumbs out of 2 thumbs for a museum.
Leica gives it 1 thumb out of 2 thumbs, just because I thought there was too much writing, too much information and not enough stuff to look at. And it was just a bit of too much of a brain fart.
Overload.
Brain overload. It was just a bit too much of a brain overload, really. So I found towards the end I was a bit tired. It was too much to go into my little old brain. So 1 thumb out of 2 I'm going to give it. So we've got like a little bit of knowledge, just a tiny bit of knowledge about what's going on and stuff. But there are also guides that you can get as well here. They just come up to you and ask if you want a guide. And they do sound quite informative and stuff, so. Perry's thoughts?
Meet him. This is the Bayon Temple, built in the 12th century. And look, it's fascinating. You see all the faces, even though they're really weathered. These giant faces and all the towers. It's amazing.
Who are the faces? The king?
I think they're supposed to be, aren't they? So we read yesterday, it's King Jayavarman VII was one of the greatest Cambodian kings. And I think a lot of visages on a lot of statues and temples, even on like things like Shivas and Vishnus and Buddhas, were based on his face. But he's got a nice calm face. And he did a lot of good stuff. Built hospitals, built this temple. We're in the ancient city of Priya Khan, which is again built by our boy King Jayavarman, and it is massive. It is huge. And what is so shocking is how do they build it, but also like what destroyed it. There's just tons of rubble everywhere as well. And it is very quiet here. I don't know, this is pretty big, it's pretty hard to miss, but it doesn't seem that many people here. But it's very peaceful. We've just had a look through like the entrance. There's some massive Garuda statues here that look really impressive, and a few little temples and things. Let's go check them out. They've been doing a lot of conservation work. Apparently it was a pretty good little introduction as we came in, but a lot of it's still sort of taken by the jungle. So you sort of see these massive tree roots, it's like overgrown and everything. It does look pretty cool, like in the video game.
Wow, so look, on this side you can really see the damage that those roots have been doing to the temple.
So this city complex was originally built by King Juravarnam, and so he was a devout Buddhist, but I think he was a little bit, religiously tolerant. But the kings after him went back to being Hindi and were not tolerant. So in this temple, in this city complex, there's lots of places where they've sort of scratched off Buddhas and replaced them with Hindu gods, or they've even scratched out legs, but it's really obvious, and changed Buddha to the classic Buddha straight leg position to the more Hindi sort of diagonal leg position. But it's really obvious, you can even tell even now.
So here's a before and after. This is the before, the rubble, everything. How would you salvage that? How would you build from that? And here it is, the reveal. Amazing. How do they know where to put everything?
Who knows? Not like Lego, is it?
Not like, did they have blueprints? Surely not.
Or examples. Quite get over how enormous all these buildings and complexes and temples and little cities are. And then you see all these trees, and they dwarf these giant cities as well. It's magnificent.
So we've been here 8 hours now. I think it might be time to head back. Let's go. These stalls along the river ended up being our favourite spot to eat in Siem Reap. It was really simple. Freshly cooked dishes, little tiny table, little tiny seat, and super friendly people.
Amazingly, in Cambodia, when you buy a can of beer, you get a little game to play, where when you pull it, you get a chance to win, or to obviously win nothing, but you can win beers. Apparently you can win money. I don't believe that though.
Apparently you can win a car.
Apparently you can win a car. I won nothing today, unfortunately. But I think it's 50% chance of winning. We've won quite a few so far, and you're going to get a free beer. So cheers, Cambodia.
Of course, we couldn't go to Siem Reap without stopping by Pub Street. Of course, you can go all out and have a big night out, but we decided to just have a beer, chill out, and do some people watching.